And this video is for the ladies who desire marriage, who desire kids, family, and the whole nine. This video is is to tell you, do not rush. But had I known what I know now, honey, I wouldn't have gone through with it. I was not ready to be married. This ain't what you want. On the inside, I want to be married again for sure. You just don't want to be a single mom. You just don't. Because being a single mom, then you have to realize, hey, there's a chance that I might be doing this alone for the rest of my life. And now that he's married, his wife seems to think that I'm a bitter baby mama, but she doesn't know the real story. Well, sis, I got receipts, so it's okay.
Black single mother of 3 living in regret. Let's get into it.
Don't end up being a single mom like me. And I'm about to get really honest with you, and I'll try not to ramble because I tend to overshare. Anyways, I am 35. I have 3 children, ages 14, 12, and 2. I have 5 sources of income.
Ooh, 14, 12, and 2. Pretty large gap on that last one. Maybe she'll explain it to us. But it's a lot of sources of income as well. It's going to be interesting.
And I'm still struggling. I have a support system. My family, my friends, their fathers are mostly in their lives.
Father, so I'm assuming we got at least 2. Because at 14 and 12, she looked like she's a little bit respectable, so she may not have had back-to-back baby daddies. But that 2, we know that's a separate one. So we got at least 2 baby daddies.
But I'm not the single mom who just doesn't have anybody. I'm not her. And I feel sorry for her because even though I have the support, I'm still struggling. Anyways, I take full accountability for the role that I played in getting me to single momhood. However, I didn't get here by myself. So, I'm about to have a conversation with you that I wish my parents would have had the tools to have with me, because I don't blame them. They only taught me what they could. They parented me the only way that they knew how, and they did a great job.
Well, obviously they didn't. I mean, if you're in a situation, there's some regret on your end, and they did the best they could. That don't mean they did a great job. I know my parents who, you know, had me at 18 and 17, did the best they could, but they still did some bull crap. Let's just be honest about it.
As a parent, I totally understand. However, I am a parent living in the age of social media. So I can only take so many tools that my parents used with me into this new generation, because the type of parent you have to be now, nobody's entered this territory before. And first of all, I have to be different personalities for each child that I have. So yeah, I've got at least 4 personalities, because one for each of my kids and then my own. And then, yeah, other personalities come into play, and I should probably get that checked out. But anyways, moving on. So yes, I did the premarital counseling. And this video is for the ladies who desire marriage, who desire kids, family, and the whole nine. This video is to tell you, do not rush.
I would love to find a divorced woman that has a positive message about marriage, that has a positive message to relay over to women. And I'm not just saying women, because men do the same. We get divorced, and all of a sudden, marriage is the worst thing created. We don't always have to live in regret of choices that we made. It could have just been us. The institution itself may have not been that bad. It could have just been you and that other individual. But I do agree with her that we should not rush. That is a valid point. Don't get me wrong. But why is that the automatic message that you want to send? Why can't it be, I have this and that to say great about it? But my only thing I would say, just don't rush into it.
Married because we had children, and that was almost 10 years ago. We only lasted for 2 years in the marriage, and we did it because we thought that was the next step. Yes, we loved each other, blah, 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 but love is not enough. We thought that was what happens next, that we were living in the age where you had kids, you got married, or you got married, you had kids, you do the things. you do the things, and that's what your parents teach you. But no, that's not how it works. Um, my parents didn't teach me how to be a wife. My parents didn't have the in-depth conversations. We went into it in premarital counseling with our counselors, but I wasn't emotionally mature enough or even had gone through certain things to even know how I would feel or even know how to answer certain questions that they were asking me. I was just answering based on what I knew at the time. But had I known what I know now, honey, I wouldn't have gone through with it.
Well, it's just common sense. Everybody say the same thing. But I thought your parents did a great job. If they didn't prepare you for marriage, which I believe is the responsibility of parents, that's one of my primary goals with raising my daughters. I got to get them ready for their husbands. I got to get them equipped. Me and their mother are responsible for getting them equipped to be quality, effective wives. So many black people, and I am saying black people, so many people in the black community, black parents, we focus on education, we focus on housing, we focus on all the materialistic things, but yet we tell them to wait on marriage. Yet we tell them to, get everything else figured out first. Go ahead and sow your wild oats, put marriage on the back burner. And then once they go in at 35, yeah, they mature in age, but they're not mature in mentality or with preparation when it comes to marriage. But before I say a word to my daughters, I have to show that great representation of a great marriage in front of my daughters with their mom. And then we speak to them as well, give them the tools that they need. But your parents are not alone, lady. This is across the black community because we know what we are when it comes to marriage. We're the lowest married group on earth.
I was not ready to be married. I did not know myself. I only knew how to be a mom. I joined the military at 17 years old. Yes, I had my fun, party, da 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 da, did the things, but I also became a young mom at 21. So there was still a lot of life that I had not lived yet, and I became a parent.
We have babies prior to that marriage and expect to get married and that will fix everything. We have too many options nowadays. Yeah, our parents, maybe grandparents, generations, they did that. And, we look at their situations and say maybe that wasn't the best ideal situation, but more often than not, it worked because they went in with the intention of it working. But we go in it with one foot in, one foot out. We go in it saying, I don't know about that. I got too many options. Or we look at the baby and say, well, that's a challenge, but marriage, oh man, that's too much. We looking at things from a disadvantage and we're looking at things from a deficit instead of understanding the great positives and the attributes that comes with having a unit and what you're bringing to that child by raising them under the same roof. There's so many more benefits and advantages that the kid will receive than what they would receive separate. And let's be honest as well, we're just so weak nowadays. We are literally emotionally weak. We can't handle any type of pressure, especially when it comes to something that gets us out of our comfort zone or something that makes us do something that we don't want to do.
Although I was asked those tough questions, like I said, I didn't know how to answer them for real. And coming from a place of maturity, coming from a place of experience, I did not know. When you become a partner, when you become a parent, you're no longer living for just yourself. And you need to live for yourself first. You need to do all the things. You need to sit with yourself. You need to cry with yourself. You need to go through breakups. You need to travel. You need to find your career. You need to accomplish your goals, because when you become a parent or a partner, all that stops. And
No, it doesn't. That's the biggest lie in the world. There's maybe a part of that marriage or part of that parenthood that you dedicate time to establish yourself. You dedicate time to establish who you are as a couple, who you are going to be as parents. But that doesn't mean the fun stops. The fun definitely continues. Your marriage, you chose to let it stop. You guys chose to put those things that you enjoy on a back burner for good, but it does not stop permanently. Stop that. That's a huge misnomer about marriage. Marriage is an extended period of dating. Marriage is a very fun thing. Me and my wife right now, we are in the period where we just had two babies in 1 year. So we have a 1 year old and a 3 week old. So we at the point where, yes, we have to put certain things on the back burner, travel and having fun outings and, even each other at times. And yeah, things get tough, but at the end of the day, we end up coming together and say, man, I don't want to do this without you. I would rather struggle in this with you and figure this thing out until we get to a happy place or get to a fulfilled place than to be without you. Hey, if you need to go sleep in another room for a day, do that. But at the end of the day, we're gonna make it. We're gonna make it. We're gonna make this thing work. And that's what marriage calls for. Like I said before, we're just weak. We're just very weak, and we don't have the emotional intelligence to navigate through these issues.
You lose you. You lose you and everything that you wanted to do, or even thought you might want to do, or even didn't even know that you wanted to do it. You don't even come to realize those things until much later. And now it's too late. Well, it's not too late. It just becomes a lot harder. It becomes extremely difficult to, one, have the time to reflect and think about your goals, two, attack your goals, three, accomplish your goals. Sit with yourself, ask yourself, why do you want to be married? Or do you want to be married because you just see it on social media? Do you want to be married because you're lonely? Do you want to have kids because you were told that you didn't want to have kids and you just want to figure it out, or you just want to try, or I don't know, or because your parent died and now you just want somebody else to love, like, or you just want somebody else to love you? Those are the deep questions that I'm talking about. And sometimes you might not even figure that out unless you go to therapy. People are out here having children and they don't even know why they're having children. People are out here having sex and they don't even know if they would keep the child if they got pregnant.
No argument here on that, but I do want to go back to what you said about losing yourself. Do you guys notice how women talk when it comes to marriage discussions? It's all individual based. Everything about marriage, in a woman's standpoint, is individualistic. They're always thinking about what best suits them. Even the love they have towards their husband, the love they have towards their kids, that's a selfish type of love. Because let those kids, let that husband do something that goes against them, oh, you're going to see the rage come out. You're going to see every bit of the selfish desire that she has. Because she's going to tell you, hey, how much I do for you. Don't you know how much I do for this house? How much I do for this family? How can you guys turn on me? If you were doing that with a positive or a unity intent, meaning you're doing just your role and your position and you doing it based on love, we would never hear that thrown back in our face. This idea of women losing themselves is a falsehood. Who told you to lose yourself? Who told you to fully invest everything, or what you call invest in everything, so much so where you don't feel that you have any individual fulfillment, where you're doing things that make you happy? Who told you to do that? No one voiced that to you. So where did that come from? What it is, you got in a position where you were living your God-given purpose of being a wife, being a mother, and you loved it. You love every piece of it. Or you got to a place where I always say, somebody put a battery in your back, some single woman, some woman living the life that you once had when you were a single woman. You see where your life got put on pause before you had all this, and now you're regretting not having it. Now you're looking at that and saying, what if? Don't blame your husband, don't blame your kids on us making you feel like you lost yourself. No, it was a great thing to lose yourself, because we all are losing ourselves, especially the mother and father. We lose ourselves for the betterment of the family. There will come a day where you will have plenty of time to do what you want to do. But if you are truly invested in giving your all to these children, giving your all to this marriage in order to fulfill our God given purpose, collective purpose, then that should never come out of your mouth.
Hear me, sis, or sir, or bro, whoever is watching this video. Don't go messing up somebody else's life because, well, not messing it up, interrupting someone else's life, and you haven't done the work on you yet. Know that if you are entering into something, that you can make this person's life better. And if they aren't on the same page or on the same wavelength as you, you better exit that situation, or they're going to bring you down as well, no matter how much y'all love each other. You have to both have done the work, you have to be on the same page with each other, because this ain't what you want. it's, it's just not. And people tell me, oh, you're doing such a great job. On the outside, yeah. On the inside, I have my days. On the inside, I want to be married again, for sure.
So what are we talking about? I thought it's not what we want. Seriously, this is This is why you never listen to women. I will say this to the day I die. You never listen to a woman because they gonna always contradict themselves, no matter what they say in point A. By the time you get to point W, it's gonna be a whole different ball game. So it's not about the marriage; it's about the way you operated within the marriage, the way you guys operated within the marriage. So let's always be clear about that. Marriage is an amazing institution. It brings forth so much of your life, in my opinion. That's how you get the most effective use of your life from a financial standpoint, from a holiness standpoint, from happiness and fulfillment standpoint. Marriage breeds that. It's not for everybody, of course, but I believe that if you do choose that path, it is an amazing path. And obviously, most people who live in regret of one marriage still feel that way. And she's proven it now.
I want my kids to, but I want my kids to see me being loved properly. I want my sons to have a great example of how a man treats a woman, how a man treats himself. I want a foundation that has God in it. Like, I want to travel. I want somebody to match my goofiness. I want all the things that you see other couples having, but I sit here and I try not to ruminate in that because they're going through their own battles, I'm sure, because life is not perfect. Let me tell you. All these people smiling on that, no. I refuse to believe that they're that happy. There's something going on that you don't see. Do not get caught up in this social media stuff.
She talking to herself. You literally just said that is what got you thinking about retaining that once again. And that also proves what I said earlier. The reason she feels she lost herself because of social media. Scrolling and just seeing these women living their best life is what makes women regret their marriage, what makes women believe that they're missing out on something.
Because it will destroy you. It will set you back.
But no woman should listen to her whatsoever because she's totally wrong. But she wouldn't be done. Ladies and gentlemen, she has a part two that you must hear.
Part two of Don't Become a Single Mom Like Me. Correction from the first video, I said you might want children because you were told that you didn't want children. I meant to say you might want children because you were told you were unable to have children. And if that's the only reason you want kids, you need to do a deep dive within yourself, because when you do have that child, you may find that you really don't want to be a parent just because you found out you can't have kids. Anyways, you also need to figure out what kind of man you don't want. You need to realize your negotiables and non-negotiables. Do you want a man who snores? Do you want a man who doesn't have benefits? Do you want a man who doesn't know how to be a good father? Do you want a man who already has kids? There's so many do you want a man that, but you need to think about what you're willing to handle, because
Your list got better, man, but come on now. The first thing you said was snore. I know women who have not married a man strictly because he snores. But let's keep things in context, ma'am. You're a mom of three. Because you said earlier in the last video that you want your kids to be able to see a man that treats you well, that treats himself well, that's a man of God that will create this godly household. What if he has all that, but he snores? There's so many women doing this. This is why women shouldn't give women advice, because that is a truth. That is something that women would do.
there's going to be times where you will not like him. You will absolutely not like him. And when it becomes a time where you no longer like this person as a person, you're going to need to be able to know if you're going to be able to wake up every day and choose him. Because
I'm sorry, y'all. There's some BS. It's a straight BS. I struggle with this lady. The choice has nothing to do if you like somebody or not. You can't know that as a prerequisite based on what the person is or who they are or what they are about, the attributes that they have, your quote unquote non negotiables. The choice is no matter who that is, whoever X is, whoever the man is, the choice is yours. The choice is always there. And you choose every single day to love that person, to be faithful to that person, to stay within that marriage. So that has nothing to do with the person. This is dumb.
you don't want to get to a point where you are laying in bed alone praying somehow to for God to end your marriage. Like you don't want to be there. That's when I knew. Anyways, And then all hell broke loose when you pray that prayer. So be careful with that. Anyways, you don't want to be a single mom because your parents are going to watch you. Not your parents. Well, shoot. Yeah, your parents too. Your kids are going to watch you struggle. And we're already going to project trauma on our children, even when we're not trying to. We're gonna mess them up some way, somehow. You can be the best parent, and they can tell you that you've been the best parent, but it's going to develop into something, and they're not even going to realize it until they become an adult. So all you can do is do the best you can, and try not to repeat generational tactics, and have open conversations with your children to minimize the effects, the negative effects, because we're gonna jack them up for sure. But they're gonna watch you. They're gonna watch you cry. They're gonna say, "Mom, what's wrong?" They're gonna ask you, and then you're gonna say, "Oh, nothing," and they're gonna see it, and then that's gonna teach them to bottle up their feelings or not be open and honest. Like, you want someone who's going to love you out loud, love you in public. You just don't want to be a single mom.
Are we missing the fact that she chose this? You haven't mentioned one time if it was something that he did to make you leave this relationship. All we've heard so far is that you lost yourself and you was laying next to him and you was disgusted and was praying, "Why me, Lord?" We ain't heard one thing that this guy did wrong. So you chose this, not this guy, my bad, the guys. You chose this. You chose to be a single mom. So why are we talking about you don't want to be a single mom? You were in control of that twice.
You just don't. Because being a single mom, then you have to realize, hey, there's a chance that I might be doing this alone for the rest of my life. There's a chance I might be one of those women. And you know what? You could be married. You could be happy and have a great relationship, and you still end up a single mom. That's the scary part. And that I don't have any advice on, because you can't control what other people do. You can't control how other people feel. You just can't. So there's no guarantee that even if you do all the right things, say all the right things, have all the right conversations, that you're going to end up happily ever after with the love of your life.
So he filed. That's what you're saying. He filed for divorce. Is that what you're telling us, lady?
But yeah, if you want a part 3, there's plenty I can come up with. I haven't gotten to the point where I want to tell my story from beginning to end. So don't ask me for that.
But this is even worse. What she says in this intro of this video, I almost slit my throat.
So you like when your girl is vulnerable and puts her business out there. Well, I'm here to tell you that you're going to have to wait a while for me to really be able to spill my guts to y'all for sure. At least 4 years when my son turns 18, and I'm not afraid of retaliation, because I definitely could tell you stories of how my son is 14 and he will be visiting his male biological creator for the first time out of state. And I'm kind of losing my mind about it. I could talk about how he's been consistently inconsistent for 14 years, but he will paint the story of I'm the mother who keeps his son from him all these years. And not because he's bounced from state to state or just downright been absent altogether. And now that he's married, his wife seems to think that I'm a bitter baby mama, but she doesn't know the real story. Well, sis, I got receipts, so it's okay. I could also go into the fact of how he blocked me from getting my son a passport and accused me of trying to get sole custody instead, when all I wanted was consent to get my son a passport. Yeah. Or the fact that he thinks his $300 a month is enough to take care of a 14-year-old and has never volunteered additional funds to assist with field trips, school clothes, school shoes, school supplies, any of the things. Or the fact that the court order that went into effect when he was around 3 says reasonable visitation, but he's only decided to execute that reasonable visitation about 2 years ago, demanding that he visit him out of state without actually understanding, hey, you forfeited that reasonable visitation when you've been gone all the other years. So let's take baby steps and establish some trust and consistency and a bond with the child before we take that next step. And even though I'm not totally comfortable with it, my son is at an old enough age to where he can speak for himself, and if anything goes down, yeah. Or the fact that when I drafted a visitation plan back when he was 3, he refused to sign it, and now telling me that we should co-parent, and I'm being complicated and keeping his son from him. You want to co-parent? Well, let's bring in his stepdad, my ex-husband, who he calls father and has raised him all these years. Let's bring in that co-parent, because was that an ant? See, when you start talking about the devil, it'll definitely show up out of nowhere.
You the devil.
Or the passive aggressive text messages that I get about once a year around the same time. I could talk about that, but to protect my son's feelings and to not come off as a bitter baby mama, because I'm not bitter, I'm just exhausted and can't wait till my son's 18th birthday so I can delete his number. Yeah. Not gonna talk about that.
Lady, you crazy. Just so you know, there's no words for me to say. There's no further words for me to say. You straight up said you wouldn't say this, but you did it the entire time. And you crazy. This is the biggest mission unaccomplished of all time. You literally tried to not to become the bitter baby mama, but it's exactly what you are. There's no saving you. You too far gone. You will be a cat lady one of these days. You will be somebody who's all alone, wondering where'd your life go. However many sons you got, I feel sorry for them boys, because they gonna be the ones that hang on longer than anybody. They gonna be, trying to rescue mama and all that, because you gonna brainwash them and, indoctrinate them to believe that you were the victim in all these situations. 2 men left you. 1 baby daddy, 1 husband. You the common denominator. I got a lot of heavy speculation that you the problem. I'm done talking, ladies and gentlemen. You guys hit me in the comment section. You tell me what's going on with this lady. You tell me who's right, who's wrong in the situation. Let's get the conversation flowing. Hey, what's up, everybody? My name is Mel. Thank you for joining my channel. Thank you for checking things out here. Oftentimes we go on people's pages and are like, man, what is going on here? What is the purpose of this channel? So let me be clear. The purpose of this channel is to speak truth regarding the nuclear family. And when I say truth, I'm not saying my truth, not your truth, but the Lord's truth. All about the word, all about the ways and the will of God. What does he have to say about the nuclear family? And I believe the generations of today, whether it be Gen X, millennials, Gen Z, Gen Y, whatever the case may be, I believe now we have a very toxic relationship regarding marriage, regarding family, regarding having children. We're in a toxic dynamic as we speak. And honestly speaking, a lot of the answers that we're looking for in our community, a lot of the cures and a lot of the answers would come from a proper, fulfilled family home. If you go down the line of everyone's individual trauma, there you will find some negligence or some type of issue that they had with their parents. So here on this channel, we address those things head on. We don't place fear in those issues and avoid the topic. We do what Jesus did. And when he said, don't assume that I came for peace, but I came with a sword. I came to turn family members against family members if it means you following me. If you have to cut them off, if you have to address them and have arguments for you to follow me, so be it. And I think at this point in our society, we're at the so be it stage. So here at Life Coaching by Mel, I'm all about bringing healing to that. And the number one way to do that is have honest conversations. So if that's something you like, that's something you're into, that's something you really want to be a part of, be sure to hit that subscribe button. Be sure to comment. Let me know what you think about everything. I do my best to respond as often as I can. I want to hear from you guys. This is not about me. It's about healing our nation, healing our states, healing our cities, healing our community, healing our homes. Love you guys. Take care.
Let's go.